In this video, I'm gonna go over 5 foods that are marketed as being healthy, but in reality, they're anything but healthy. They're making you gain weight instead. You don't want that. Some of the foods I'm about to mention might even surprise you, so make sure you stick around all the way until the end of the video. These are the exact same tips that I give to all my students, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. So you know it works. Before we get started, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video every week. Number 1. Protein bars. I give a lot of props to protein bar companies because they're now synonymous as being the ideal way to get protein when you're on the go. And yes, these bars do provide protein to help you recover and feed your muscles. Sure. The problem is all the other ingredients that's also in it. And these protein bar companies do such an amazing job making this stuff appealing to everyone. It would say 20 grams of protein per serving. And I never really cared reading the rest of the ingredients. But if you actually bother to look, it contains ingredients that you and I can't even pronounce. And they're usually the preservatives, artificial sweeteners, and flavors, and toxic oils that are just not made for consumption for the human body. More likely than not, your favorite protein bar is also loaded with sugar. That's why they taste so good. Without it, it would probably taste like butt. Food manufacturers are also unbelievably good at hiding sugar. Sugar has something like over 70 names. I've seen some of these bars pack as much as 30 grams of sugar. To put that to context, there's only about 4 grams of sugar in the human body. So those 30 grams of sugar basically turns your favorite protein bar into a glorified Snickers bar with some protein in it. Let's call a spade a spade. It's just a sugar bomb. The other problem with protein bars is we tend to have more than one throughout the day. I know a lot of people who use them as snacks in between meals. And what does your body do with all that excess sugar? Well, it's gonna cause a spike in your blood sugar levels with a corresponding spike in insulin. That's your storing hormone. Some of that sugar gets stored in your liver and muscles as glycogen. But your body can only store about 2,000 calories worth of energy there. The rest, it gets stored as body fat. And there is no limit to how much fat the human body can store. And it's so easy to overconsume them because they're delicious. They're highly palatable and they're designed to be that way. So every time you eat one of these bars, your body goes into fat storage mode. The other problem with protein bars is a lot of them use soy protein, especially vegan protein bars. The problem with eating a lot of soy is it can negatively impact your testosterone levels and raise your estrogen levels. If you have a soy-based protein bar every once in a while, not a big deal. Your body can handle it, but the poison is in the dose. If you eat a few of them every day, or if you eat a lot of soy-based foods in general, and this mostly applies to vegans and vegetarians, you might inadvertently cause some unwanted changes to your hormones. For example, too much estrogen can cause you to store more body fat. Soy also contains phytoestrogens, which acts as an endocrine disruptor and mimics the effects of estrogen in the body. It could also suppress thyroid function and decrease testosterone levels, making it harder to build and maintain muscle. Like if you're looking for a quick and easy source of protein, how about boiling some eggs and just bringing a couple with you? The humble egg is one of the most nutritious foods on the planet. It contains 13 essential vitamins and minerals like lutein and choline, which are vitamins for your eyes and brain. It's basically nature's version of a multivitamin. Number 2. Whole wheat or whole grains versions of any food. Let's use bread, for example. Whole wheat bread is often promoted as the healthy alternative to white bread, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Number 1, your body has to produce the same amount of insulin whether you're eating white bread or whole wheat bread. And again, if you've been following my channel, you'll know that insulin is what controls your body weight. It's important to keep it moderated at all times. Whole wheat bread actually has a higher glycemic index score than a Snickers bar. Why? Because a Snickers bar also contains fat and protein, which then slows down the absorption of sugar in your body when you eat it. Go figure. The bigger problem with eating whole wheat is it contains a high amount of anti-nutrients like lectins, phytates, gluten, and wheat germ agglutinin, or WGA. Anti-nutrients are compounds found in foods that interfere with the absorption of beneficial minerals and nutrients. Phytic acid, for example, is mostly concentrated in the bran of grains, but the bran gets taken out during processing to make white bread. That's why white bread is better than whole wheat bread. It has less anti-nutrients. Asians, for example, have been perfecting eating white rice for thousands of years. Why? Because they know that the lectins are in the hull. That gets taken out during the processing to make white rice. Like back in the day, whole grains was actually given to peasants. White rice was more desirable to rich people. There actually used to be a competition on who could make the purest white rice. This applies to other grain-based products like granola, where the base is typically oats. Same thing with oatmeal. But if you ask any random person on the street what an anti-nutrient is, they'll probably look at you as if you're speaking another language. Now, let's talk about the most mainstream form of anti-nutrient, gluten. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, rye, and oats that can cause intestinal permeability, i.e. leaky gut, among other things. The problem with gluten is that no human can digest it. It's impossible to digest the gluten proteins that are in wheat, barley, and rye. Eating a steady source of these anti-nutrients can lead to digestion problems including GERD, IBD, IBS, as well as thyroid problems and autoimmune disease like Hashimoto. It also causes inflammation, arthritis, and brain fog. They're also found in beans, legumes, nuts, leaves, roots, and fruit. One more thing that I want to add is for 99.99% of human history, human beings did not eat grains. And even when we started eating it, we've always preferred white rice over brown rice. If you want to look at specific numbers, modern agriculture started 10,000 years ago. Human beings have been around for 2.5 million years. The math is simple. We did not evolve to eat grains. Our stomachs specifically haven't had enough time to evolve to process this stuff. That's why it causes so many digestive problems. Number 3, fruit. This is a big one. Fruit still gets a health halo from so many people, and I always get a reaction every time I bring up this topic because it's been ingrained in our heads for decades now since the USDA released the first dietary guidelines, which is also around the same time when the obesity epidemic started in the US. Go figure. We've been taught to eat 2 to 4 servings of fruit, right? But that number of servings is based on nothing. It's not based on any science. Listen, if your goal is fat loss, fruit is not really something that you want to be part of your daily diet. And I don't really blame a lot of people for eating it because it is tasty, with the caveat of being labeled as healthy. Let's use bananas, for example. People eat bananas all the time, right? Then they use the ones that are about to go bad and make banana bread. Nothing goes to waste. Bananas are also used in a lot of smoothies to give it that sweet and creamy texture. A full banana, for example, comes in at about 14 to 15 grams of sugar. But the biggest drawback to eating banana and a lot of fruit is the type of sugar in it called fructose, which your liver can only process. Unlike glucose, which is a simple sugar, fructose causes a low rise in blood sugar levels. Again, because your liver has to process it first and turn it to glucose to become usable energy. So let's say, for example, you make a smoothie with some protein powder because your bro told you to do it. You get a double whammy effect of an immediate blood sugar spike from the protein powder, or maybe you're someone who adds agave, honey, or maple syrup. Same thing. Your body converts that sugar into usable energy in the form of glucose. You get an immediate blood sugar spike from that. But you also get a delayed blood sugar spike from the fructose in the fruit, which means you basically have elevated blood sugar levels for most of the day until your next meal. And if you have elevated blood sugar levels, you also have elevated insulin levels. And that's where it gets bad long term, because chronically high insulin levels leads to insulin resistance, which then leads to systemic inflammation. And that opens you up to all sorts of nasty disease, including obesity, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular disease. All you really need to know about fruit is it's extremely lipogenic. Lipogenic means it's fattening. Just think about how our Paleolithic ancestors ate fruit back in the day. I always go back to this point because we're still genetically identical to them. Back then, they would come across seasonal berries and they would eat it. And they ate it to fatten themselves up for winter. Fruit was seasonal. So from an evolution standpoint, when you eat fruit, your body thinks that winter's coming and you're giving it the signal to store fat. That's why it's lipogenic. And that's another important point, is that fruit back then was only available seasonally. Now you can get any type of fruit all year round. And again, every time I work with my students, and they have a lot of objection about this at first, they don't want to give up fruit, they all show one constant thing: the less fruit they ate, the more weight they lost. Same thing with eating grains. And one last thing about fruit: the fruit that's available to us today looks nothing like the fruit that our ancestors ate back in the day. You're eating something that's genetically modified to be bigger and sweeter. You're eating a genetically modified version of it. A strawberry these days, for example, looks nothing like how it looked back then. You're eating a mutated version of it. How could you possibly think that's good for you? Number 4, diet beverages, or any artificially sweetened drink that's branded as 0 calories. This also includes sugar-free gum. And it sounds promising. You can have something that's really tasty, something that's really sweet, and you can have it guilt-free because it has 0 calories. It's brilliant marketing if you ask me, but there's only one problem. Your body doesn't really count calories. Like, you have no calorie counter in your stomach. Your body does, however, have a physiological response every time you drink this stuff. Just think about this from a practical standpoint. Nothing that sweet gets a free pass once it enters your system. All you really need to know about artificial sweeteners, which is what's used to make diet soda 0 calories, is it's directly linked to obesity instead of weight loss because it destroys your gut microbiome. There's an 8-year study, for example, that shows that instead of reducing obesity, diet soda substantially increased the risk of it by 47%. The Women's Health Initiative study, one of the biggest studies ever done on nutrition, found a 30% increased risk of heart attacks and stroke in those drinking 2 or more diet sodas daily. Yet some people drink this stuff like it's water. Drinking diet soda also increases hunger hormones by altering your sweet taste receptors and triggers a dopamine response in your brain. When you're doing intermittent fasting, for example, and you drink a can of diet soda, you think it's okay because it's 0 calories. Your brain actually gets confused, and we've all been there before. You drink a can of diet soda and your brain lights up like a Christmas tree. Your body thinks you're about to eat because it just tasted something sweet, which then triggers an insulin spike in anticipation of all the food that's about to come in. But there's actually no food coming. So now your brain sends even stronger hunger pangs for you to actually eat something. The other problem with drinking diet soda is people justify eating something bad because they're drinking something that's 0 calories. These are the same people you see at fast food restaurants, for example. They'll order the worst stuff on the menu and then they'll ask for a Diet Coke. And one last point here. Think about the people who drink diet soda. Do you know anybody at all that achieved their weight loss goals by drinking this stuff? No. Number 5, any food with the word protein attached to it, like protein bars. And this is almost laughable every time I see this. You get a lot of these health food places selling a vegan, chocolate drizzled, peanut butter filled protein donut. And people devour this stuff as if it's the greatest thing on the planet just because it has the word protein attached to it. And attaching the word vegan to something doesn't really mean a whole lot. And you should already know how I feel about veganism if you've been following my channel. There's really nothing healthy about it. Like, a spoonful of sugar is vegan. It doesn't mean that it's good for you. I mean, I love chocolate and peanut butter as a treat, but I categorize those things as exactly that, a treat. I know I shouldn't be eating it all the time, but for some reason, as long as you attach the word protein to it, you can have it. You can have it every day. It's healthy. It makes no sense. It's the same thing with protein pancakes, protein banana bread, and again, protein bars, and whatever dessert concoction you can think of with the word protein attached to it. At the end of the day, just call a spade a spade. Just because it has the word protein attached to it doesn't automatically mean that it's healthy for you. Because again, once it gets that health halo, the chances of overconsumption goes up exponentially. And that's really the main problem with all the other healthy foods I mentioned in this video. The poison is in the dose. The next question then becomes, how are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Because here's the thing, 80% of your body composition is determined by your diet. You can't just freestyle this part. Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I melted all the fat around my stomach without depriving myself of my favorite foods or wasting hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach to all my private coaching clients, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link somewhere at the top here or in the description box. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. All right, that's all I've got. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post a new video every week. And hey, leave a comment below if you have any questions about this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. First, a high five.